Well, welcome everybody to our GLREA Thursday evening Zoom. Glad you could join us tonight. And I'd like to thank our sponsors, the State Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy, EGLE, um, Homeland Solar, they're here tonight with Dave Friedrichs, Harvest Solar, Sumter Solar, and Shree Energy. And tonight, Mac McCabe, who's a senior partnerships manager for Michigan Saves, is going to give us an update on Michigan Saves and also tell us a little about his own personal experience with solar power. And so, with that, I'm going to pass it on to Mac. And why don't you please mute yourself until Mac has finished his presentation? Go ahead, Mac.
Hey, thank you, John, for the introduction. Like you said, my name is Mac McCabe. I'm a senior partnerships manager. I'm sure you guys are all were familiar with Pat, who was formerly with Michigan Saves. So I'm kind of filling in for him on this. And we're for those of you that are not familiar with Michigan Saves, I'm just going to go through a couple slides about what we are, our mission, and how this relates to the GLREA. So obviously we promote accessible, equitable, just investments in energy efficiency and clean energy, which is all geothermal, solar, wind, any of those renewable energies. We were established in 2009 with funding from the Michigan Public Service Commission. We actually are the nation's first nonprofit green bank, and we have a network of over 1,200 authorized contractors. And for those contractors that are on the line, this is a really, if you're not a Michigan Saves authorized contractor, you should be, simply for the networking that we do, any information on programs that we have, but also you're going to be put on our contractor locator, and we have thousands of hits a day on our contractor locator, people looking for contractors. Now, of course, that's for HVAC and lighting and obviously solar, and other items, but it's a really good way to get leads to your house. So not only that, but how does Michigan Saves try to promote energy efficiency and financing? Well, we do that through their energy efficiency and renewables. We do it through financing. So we go out to our credit unions and we say, give us your best interest rates and your lowest credit requirements. And in exchange for that, we will pay for a certain percentage of the loans that default. So we're reducing their risk and then passing these great rates on to the contractors or your customers. And it works out good. It's a great way for for the homeowner to get high efficiency equipment. And in the case with solar and renewables, it's a no-brainer. There's no bad solar. There's no bad geothermal. But in the case of how we operate, typically is if it was like HVAC equipment, in order to get your hands on this really cheap money that has low credit requirements, you have to install high efficient equipment. So you can't install an 80% efficient furnace, but if you use Michigan Saves, which is better for you anyway, you can install a 95% efficient furnace. So that's kind of how we put our foot on the scale of energy efficiency and renewables. And it's worked great. We've got a lot of programs that have kind of spun out from that. We work with the utilities. We'll get into that a little bit later about interest rate buy downs. And so it's been successful, and since 2009, we've done $750 million worth of loans throughout the state. So it's a pretty successful program so far. When I started out, and it's accelerated quite a bit. So in 2019, right before COVID, I started out with Michigan Saves, and we were doing about $4 million a month, and now we're 10 to 11 million a month. So it's really been ramping up and gaining speed. And that's because it's completely due to our contractor network. So we provide loans for homeowners, businesses, nonprofits, tribal organizations, government entities. We also have these two new programs here, lead abatement and septic. Not interested, this isn't the crowd for that, but it's something that we're into with Eagle. We got both of those programs from Eagle. And we do this all through financing. So these are our credit unions. TBA, we're all over the place, right? We've got some locations in Detroit. We've got people in Traverse City. MSU FCU is fully statewide. So there's credit unions everywhere. But, the big thing is you don't really have to go into a credit union. You're kind of looking for the best rate. So everything that we do doesn't require you to step into a location. It's all done. It's all done online. So this is where we get into our residential program. So we have an unsecured personal loan. So no collateral, no UCC filing, no liens. It is unsecured. And we have loan amounts up to $75,000. That's kind of recent. We used to be up to 100,000, but we are scaling that back. And for this crowd, for solar, we have up to a 25-year product. And that 25-year product is 8.25%. And that's solar only. No geo, nothing else. No heat pumps or anything. So our standard program right now is a 10-year. So anything over $5,000 a year, you can get a 10-year loan, a 10-year term at 6.24%, which is really good. It's like what you get a collateralized mortgage for right now. And there's no prepayment penalty. So it's a really good, it's a good product. There's no strings attached. There's, no tripwires. Our 15-year product is probably the most popular with the solar crowd. That's a 15-year, 6.99%. And know that regardless of what product that you are selling with Michigan Saves, the contractor fee is 2.49%. So that's what you have to pay. So when we pay you for the job, you go out, you install the solar, we pay the contractor, and it's going to be minus 2.49%. So we do that through our authorized contractor network. We've got a really slick software program that connects the credit unions to the contractors and Michigan Safe. So it's really easy to use. It's really user friendly, and it's got some a lot of notices. Once you're a contractor, you'll notice when something happens, there's a status change. You constantly will be getting notifications. Okay, so that was our residential side. On our commercial side, it's a little different, and our we really don't have a limit as far as the commercial program goes. We've done multi-million-dollar projects. It's really just a matter of finding the right lender. So we have a standard lender, Team Financial. They would probably go up to $1 million, maybe two. But if you had a bigger project, we'll find a lender. We have a network of lenders that we can go to for larger projects. And this commercial slide is really geared towards the utility collaboration, right? We have an interest rate buy down program with the utility. So if your project that you're working on has a rebate from Consumers Energy, DTE, or Semco, which I doubt, then you can buy down that interest rate to 0%. Without the buy down, our standard commercial rates right now are between 8 and 10%, depending on your credit, depending on your Dun & Bradstreet number. There's a whole host of things. The good thing about our lender right now is Team Financial. They own their own money, so they're not like packaging it and selling it. And if you got a good story, it doesn't matter if you've been in business for a year or 10 years. If they believe in your product and the job, then there's a good chance you're gonna get approved. So our commercial program is is pretty robust. And we've got some really good financial partners. Now, this is a relatively new product that we came out with. It was we did this when the GGRF money came out. I know that it's been clawed back ever since, or at least still in the court system. But this is one of the product lines that we put together when we were going to get the $100 million from the GGRF. And it basically provides that gap between when the job is installed to when the nonprofit or government entity would get the direct pay, or I should say the rebate, so to speak, that they would get. So whatever that 30%, if it's made in Michigan, I think it's 40, but whatever that number would be, we would provide a loan at the time to bridge the time frame from when they got the money back from the IRS. And that's up to 24 months at 3.99%. It's solar, batteries, geothermal, and right now we're doing this with our money. So we did a pilot program. This is basically our pilot program where we're using Michigan Saves money to do it. And then we were going to use GGRF money without the GGRF. This is, we don't know exactly how long this is going to last, but we're talking to our board about extending this. So rest assured, right now there's plenty of money in this fund for your nonprofits and schools and houses of worship to take advantage of that. So they're not overly burdened by that, waiting for the tax credit money. And that's up to $250,000. Okay, so this is, I guess we really don't need to go over this. This is basically what we were going to do with the $100 million, which it's not out of the question that we received these funds. It hasn't really been clawed back. It went into the court system, and it has been one court, then to another court. And it feels like it's kind of a delay type of situation. So we're prepared for it. If it comes through, we have jobs lined up, we have partners lined up, and this is what we were going to do with it. It was basically going to be a low interest loan for any energy efficiency and renewable projects in the state, which included solar and geothermal. So, since we didn't get it, obviously I won't spend too much time on this, but it's still a possibility for us. I mean, a boy can dream. Anyway, so that's all about Michigan Saves. We really don't have, some of the things that I know it was going to be updates on Michigan Saves. Some of the things that I think that should be known is, we've gotten a new CEO in Sally Talberg. She used to be the commissioner at the MPSC. She's fantastic. We're going in some really great directions. We've got a new CFO. We've hired some new people, and we've spun out on our own. So we used to be staffed by public sector consultants out of Lansing, and just because we've been getting this momentum and our loan volume's increasing and we're bringing people on, we wanted to be our own boy. So we spun out, and this is our first year of being Michigan Saves and not being part of public sector consultants. So that's a new development. I'm not sure exactly how it's not going to affect any of the contractors or anything we do. This is just kind of like what's new with Michigan Saves. We do have one project that might be new to you. I'm not exactly sure what everybody knows, but we have this product called Access Energy, and it is basically we throw away the credit score. So if somebody would have qualified except their credit score was below 600, then it gets put into a separate pile, and we look at that, and we use only the ability to pay as the requirement, or the credit, or the requirement to get a loan. So that's done behind the scenes. There's nothing that a contractor has to do. It's automatic, so there's nothing for them. There's no program code. There's no information. All you have to do is use True Community Credit Union. They're the only one of our lenders on the residential side that's doing it. But if somebody has bad credit and a lot of people are pretty up to date on their credit. And if they're anywhere close, I would send them to, when they fill out their application to select True Community, because they have this really fantastic program that's helped a lot of people. And, we thought when we originally did it, we thought we were going to run out of money so fast because why would somebody with bad credit repay their loan? And, what we found out is that they were grateful for the opportunity to have somebody, take a chance on them so that they can build their credit. Because people that have below, 600 credit, they're not getting credit cards, they're not getting any options. And it turned out really good. So, we're tweaking the program a little bit, but that's another thing that's kind of like new for Michigan Saves. And like I said, it's only through True Community. And now on to my project. So in 2023, in the summer, I watched 7 different YouTube videos and decided to put solar on my house. And that, I know a lot of solar contractors, and I really should have reached out and gotten some help. But anyway, it was a journey. So I got my designs from Green Lancer, and then took it to McNutt and McKay, and they dropped a pallet of equipment off, and then pulled up my truck and got some solar panels from one of our solar contractors and went to town. And it was a ton of fun. I mean, it was challenging. I think my roof really took a toll because I installed it, got my brother and my father-in-law and my group of drinking buddies, and we put that solar system up. And yeah, nobody told me in the uh, the YouTube videos that I was supposed to pull off the little barcodes for each one of my microinverters. So yeah, so I have a solar system that is one big array. Can't tell which panel's which. So last year, I took them all off, pulled the barcode so I could tell which panels were producing which. And man, my roof really did take a beating. I mean, we were up and down and over. So I basically installed it twice and dropped one of my microinverters off the roof. So I still have to fix that. But it was challenging. I have some stats here, and I honestly don't know if this is good information or bad information, but it's a 12 kilowatt system. I have about 30 panels, 400 watts apiece. And um, my production in 2024 was 11.3 megawatts and then 11.1 megawatts. It's east and west facing. It's really the only way I could do it. But so far it's been working out good. I mean, I was really surprised at how low production I get in the wintertime, like December and January. Because I was thinking about getting a heat pump, for my house, the dual fuel heat pump, and I'm not sure I'm going to do that. Just because my production doesn't really, the months that I need it the most, I think I'm gonna. That was the goal
Sure.
initially, so that was surprising. It was a lot of hard work. I know why installers get paid a lot of money, and it was, for me, it was worth it. It was one, I get to kind of talk the talk, so to speak. I know some of the pitfalls of doing this on your own, but so yeah, so it's really really pleased with it. And that is the end of my presentation. Here's my contact information. This is my cell number. If anybody wants to get a hold of me for any reason, contractors to sign up or, sharing our rate matrix, rate sheets, all that information. But I'm certainly open to any questions, John. I don't know if it went probably a little faster than I thought, but
Oh, this is great. More time for questions. Yeah, why don't you stop screen sharing? Be easier for
okay.
us to see folks. Charles has the first question.
Yeah, I did. This is a question, Mick. I'm a priest of the Archdiocese of Detroit. The Archdiocese of Detroit is about to do a reorganization of the entire diocese. And one of the things I pitched at a few months ago at the meeting, it seemed to get on resonant ears, is to energy audits of all the facilities in the Archdiocese, and those that have a 6 months or less payback, they all get greenlit, those things. And then any projects, and then anything that would be longer term, like on-site renewables and HVAC systems, it would have you would have that would be for those facilities that are going to be fully operational in a couple of years, because they're looking down 10 years down the road, and so it's a long complicated thing about selling buildings and stuff, because they got to go through Rome. But there's going to be buildings that are fully used right now, they're going to be less used. Other buildings are going to be fully used. And I don't know if you want, but if you're interested, I thought maybe, I don't know how they're going to, if they are going to go ahead with this. I think they're going to go ahead with this dimension of the reorganization. And if they are, that maybe Michigan Saves might be, at least, might be useful. I don't know. I don't know how, with it. So if you want, I could put in the chat or email you. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm for certain. And also, depending on the type of project that comes out of that energy audit, they can tack on the cost of the energy audit into the finance.
Right. Exactly. Okay. I'll give you the phone number, the contact, and I'll just do you want an email, or do you want in the chat right now, or for
chat already done.
Okay. It's the number is 313 237 5800. If it goes to the thing, it's the parish reorganizing, and the person in charge is Reverend Mario Amori is the person in charge. That's kind of given by the Archbishop to do this. But you're talking at least 200 buildings or more that'll be maybe going to audit all at once.
That's fantastic.
Okay. I think that's all I had to say.
Thanks, Charles.
Hey, thanks, Charles. Patrick, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for the update, Mac. I heard a presentation or two from Patrick before, the other Patrick that worked with you. And I want to ask some things about how this works with new construction. And does it roll into the mortgage? Is it a separate personal loan, as you were saying? And what things could be covered? Obviously, solar power systems, but would it go as far as things like insulation or mini splits for heating? Right?
Yeah. So are you talking about residential new construction?
Residential, yes. I'm actually working on development in an ecological development of 9 homes that are all going to be 100% renewable energy. And I want to present kind of a package of options that our residents could consider for financing.
I've been knocking down builders' doors for the last 4 years. Flippers, builders, doing major renos, and trying to get them to use Michigan Saves financing, because I felt like it made sense. But what I found is that builders have cheaper money, right? Because they're collateralizing, they're digging construction loans, they're doing their draws. But we have had some owner builders that have used Michigan Saves on each project, and it was like a passive house with some heat pumps, and it was a great project. And the person used Michigan Saves all the way up to the hilt. Like I think at the time he used $100,000 worth of Michigan Saves financing for his house. So what can be covered? Your entire building envelope can be covered, truly. I mean, you could do your insulation, you could do the doors, windows, your heat pump, solar, like the whole kit and caboodle could be covered. But right now we're at $75,000 max for each person that would be getting the loan.
Right. Yes.
And keep this in mind is that when the job is done, whatever the scope of your project is, that's when you get paid. So if you're doing, you might want to get several loans along the way. So get one for all your insulation, get one for your heat pump, get one for the solar, and then, as you finish, you can get paid for them.
I see. This is not a construction loan where you advance somebody some money. Uh, our scenario is similar to what you mentioned. They're all going to be um, owner responsibility. I'm selling lots. I'm not building.
Okay.
So I'm in a
Yeah.
position recommending to our residents
Right.
financing avenues. Yeah.
Yeah. And we can be a supplement. If people are getting cheaper money from their bank because it's collateralized, then, great. That's fantastic. But if you run into a glut or you go over budget, like every single construction project that was ever constructed, you can use Michigan Saves.
Well, I'm thinking basically that they might qualify for a mortgage better if part of that mortgage was offloaded to Michigan Saves and the bank was not financing the whole house.
We don't get into the mortgage
No,
business. I mean, our
I don't
credit
mean it
union.
that way. I mean that if Michigan Saves finances $75,000 of that home build,
Mhm.
then the bank needs to finance $75,000 less of whatever it would have been for them.
Oh, sure.
And that's an advantage to our homeowner because it may be easier for them to qualify for that mortgage, since the mortgage would not be as big. That
Oh, right. Yeah. But just remember, that's still going to be on their credit when they get pulled to do the mortgage, like
that's
whatever
right.
our loan is going to be.
Yeah, yeah. One more question, if I could.
Yep.
Um, you have a list of contractors that you work with. Does the homeowner get to choose the contractor that
Yep.
they want
Yep.
from that list? Okay.
Yep.
Hey, Mac, can you tell us a little about how the contractors are vetted? What you kind of check on with them? Because I think that's in addition to having such a great list of contractors, you do some kind of checking on them.
Yeah. We've, it's a standard like process to become a Michigan Saves contractor. Um, we're looking for your license, we're looking for your insurance, and you have, got to be in good standing with the state. We check that. And then, as we go on, we have a quality assurance program. So, a certain percentage of every job that you do as a contractor gets looked at by us, whether that's a file review, a drive-by to see the equipment, or we knock on the door and talk to the homeowner. We also have a secondary process that every job that gets finished, the customer receives a request to do a review, kind of like a Google review, and that is on our contractor locator. So when people are looking for you, they can see how many stars you have. They can, look at the reviews. So it's a really unique situation that we have at Michigan Saves because there is no that I know of. There is no third party quality assurance program, right? You can as a homeowner, you rest assured that if you're using a Michigan Saves contractor, there's third party quality assurance that attaches to that. And we also kick out contractors every year. I mean, when they qualify, we've got an entire quality assurance program where if somebody, installs the wrong equipment, the customer's not happy, something happens, um, we send a corrective action request and there's a whole process that they have to follow to do it. So we protect the homeowner, but we also protect the contractors too. And it's you know, we're a contractor based organization. So we really want the contractors to flourish, but we want good contractors.
That's important because we all know about some businesses in Michigan and other parts of the country who have not been very good at meeting the needs of their customers, fly
Yeah.
by night folks. Dave, go ahead.
Mac, on the commercial, how is the loan value limited? I didn't see any limit on the commercial.
Tell you what, man, you bring me a big project, I'll find some money for you. I mean,
Yes.
we're not it. I mean, we did a $2 million project not last year, the year before last, and typically our sweet spot is $250,000. Like that's where we want to be. It's easy for our lenders. It fits right within, their comfort level. When you start getting above 250, that's when we're, putting more eyes on it. And I mean, if it's a really big project, let me know. We'll find a lender to accommodate.
But what's the security for it? It is not a loan to value. There's not or is there in this commercial case?
Yeah, we're using the loan loss reserve in the commercial program. So it would be risky, right, to have all of our eggs into that basket. But if it's the right project, we're open to it.
And is there a rate that's been common related to prime, or what was the group?
The interest rate doesn't really change with larger projects. It's still going to be right at our 8 to 10%. But what changes is what our contractor fee is. So on the commercial side, our contractor fee is 1.99%. When you get into the millions of dollars, we negotiate because we know that's a really big number. So that's kind of where we change things a bit.
Yeah. Is there an appraisal involved in the commercial lending?
No, there is a UCC filing.
Mm-hmm. Security,
Yeah.
but
Hey, Mac, your 12 kilowatt system, does it provide 80% of your electric needs? Do you have an EV? I think Todd mentioned you have a heat pump water heater. How much what are you using electricity for, and approximately how much does it provide? Your 12
Yeah.
kilowatt system.
So before I put my solar system in, I wanted to really jack up my load so that I could put as many panels on as I wanted to. So I have a heat pump water heater for my pool. So we put in a 20,000 gallon pool and it's heated through a heat pump. And then I have a heat pump water heater and an electric dryer. That's pretty much my load for the house. So I think I consumed 14 megawatt hours, produced 12, but I'm still 50% reliant on the grid, according to my Insight app, just because the time of day plays such an important role as to when, you're using your production. Because I don't have a battery and they just, give me a credit for, seems like peanuts, for the excess energy that's back at the utility. So I wish it was, I kind of, have dollar signs in my eyes when I hear people that were grandfathered into the 1-to-1. That would have been awesome if they bought it back that way, but I did not get that situation. But it heats my pool just fine. I don't have any problems. A lot of times in the summer, when it's really hot, I don't even heat it.
And did you consider getting a battery for your system? And do you, with Michigan Saves, do you finance a lot of battery systems?
Yes, we do. We finance a lot of battery systems. I did think about it. I got the quote, and because I was doing a self-install, it more than doubled my the cost of the install. So I was unsure that it would pay off in the long run for me. Um, I did some math on it, and I was not convinced at the time. Because it was, I mean, I did do a self-install, so my materials, man, the battery was the same amount as it was for me to install the whole thing. So I decided to not go that way.
I
And
think
go ahead, Dave.
batteries should be recognized as dropping in price now, and it's a very dynamic market. And it's going to happen. What happened with solar panels will happen over the next few years with batteries, no doubt about it. I've got, and you have a reasonable pitch on your roof, Mac. And I didn't
Mhm.
know if you had anything like scaffolding or something but we have these 24 foot extension poles that just pull the snow off there. And I've got a 2-story house and 47 panels, about 16, little over 16 kilowatts on my roof. And I just was looking at my generation, and I'm going to have 900 kilowatts in January and February out of those 16 kilowatts. So, but I do, pull the snow off them, and it's been a little bit of work, but good
Yeah.
exercise.
I tell you what, I
We
left
do
all my
that. We
pictures up
provide
on my
them. In
roof.
fact, we provide sticks like that are extension that do go up to 24 feet to some of our
Yeah.
ground mount people because that's real easy for them. And the Scioto Township Police and Fire, I gave it to them because I saw that they didn't bother going out there. And I said, these firefighters, instead of sitting inside, go on out and just start generating. But
Yeah, matters.
Keep them in good shape. Keep them exercising. Yeah, go
that's
ahead,
right.
Dave
You and
Curtis.
me, John, we got to get you one for yours at your house. That's
Okay.
way up there, though. That's up there.
Yeah, it is up there. Go ahead, Dave Curtis.
So, Mac, it sounds like Michigan Saves is not really geared towards residential, but more for the higher uh, budget type installations. Can you clarify that?
Well, we have a lot of solar contractors that use Michigan Saves, and the 15-year is a really good product for them because a lot of times that's what it pay, where their break even point is less than 15, right? When I did mine, it was if I used a contractor, it would have been a 9-year payback, which was a really good deal for me because I'm not leaving my house. I'm environmentally conscious, but what makes you think that it would not be for residential?
The interest rate, and you're talking more leaning towards $250,000 or better is your sweet spot. Just some of the things you mentioned.
Right, that 250 is on the commercial side. On the residential side, we only go up to 75, um, which I think is a good number at the 15-year. And we also, I mean, we put that product together, the 25-year, because there was some contractors that were asking us to try to, do utility bill swap type of sales process, and we didn't really like it all that much. But we feel like the 15-year is a good product for residential. And on the commercial, yeah, it's a big interest rate, right? 8 to 10% on your commercial project is a lot. So we don't see too much on the commercial side, right? Most of our business for solar is residential. And it's slowed down quite a bit. I mean, with interest rates going up, when I got a Michigan Saves loan to do my project, I locked it in at 5.5%. It made sense financially for me to do it that way. And we're at 6.24 right now. I think you can make it work.
Yeah, just as experience, Dave, we've had scores of all residentials from 10,000 to 20 to 30. And a number of them have even come back and had a second go because they decided to add additional panels at their home. They might take a short one out for cash to hit the sweet spot in their own cash. And it's always been, as Mac says, 5.5% or 6.5%, because there's a buy down by us as contractors of 2.49. Since they do the marketing, or at least that's the explanation. So it's worked out in lots of business over the past, I don't know, I guess we've been there since about 2010, 2011.
Other questions, comments folks have? Just raise your virtual hand or. Yeah, go ahead, Abraham.
Mac, it sounds like you could actually benefit from a battery because you can do load shifting, and you could automate that so that you load up to 11 a.m. at some point, and you sort of figure out what your mid day needs are, and then you at least get hit for half. Well, you can probably cover the entire midday, I imagine, because you have 15 panels on the west, 15 on the east, so you can probably cover that just with maybe well, let's say in the order of 15 kilowatt storage, 20 kilowatt storage, battery storage. At least you pay a half. Your rate at least is cut in half, right? At least I think you're a DTE member, but
yeah, it's definitely DTE, and they have a rate that that you can use if you. I guess I was thinking about putting my heat pump in, and there was a rate that kind of made sense. It certainly is making more sense now that now that rates are going up. Like I heard DTE's raising the rates again, and we also are planning on getting an EV. So that might, I don't know. There's a lot of moving pieces to this. I just got my first 2 years of my production on my solar system, and I think you're right. I'm definitely going to look hard into battery storage.
And you need some form of management system.
Well, that was the thing is, that communicator, or gosh, I can't remember what it was. So when Mac McCabe first dropped off, they had a controller, and it was like a $3,000 controller. And I'm like, what is this? I have no idea what this controller is for. And I think it was as a result of the questions that they asked me. Like he said, are you ever gonna, have a battery? And I was like, well, maybe, I don't know. It's too expensive right now. So he put a controller on the list of things that got dropped off, but I returned it. So I'd have to get a new one of those. But the good news is I have one of my friends is a master electrician at Ford. So he can help me out a little bit if I need it.
Yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
Thank you, Mac, for presentation tonight. I appreciate that. We at my church, we've been talking about getting solar panels for some time, and a lot of the people are worried about puncturing through the roof, leaks in the roof. Now, I've never heard of anybody complaining about that. and I wondered, you've had to do that, so
Yeah.
I just wondered if you had any comments that you could help me with trying to explain to people that not to worry about it. It's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, I was actually worried about that because, we spent a lot of time snapping lines and, thinking we were drilling in the right spots, and we weren't. Like, I missed a lot of places. But the feet that they give you, the I don't even know what you want to call them, the feet, the covers, they cover a pretty wide area. So even if you do miss, the panel, the water protected panel is over the hole that you made, because I think there was a couple areas where it was like I was hanging drywall, man. I was just putting holes in to see where it's at, and I kept on putting holes in. Um, but I plugged them all up. We were using solar seal, and those things, they really do protect. And the very first rain we had, I went and crawled into my attic, and I sat there with a flashlight waiting for that water to come down. And it never did. And we've had some serious wind and driving rain, and I'm not good. I'm not like a good installer, and it turned out good. It turned out okay, I mean.
That's a good story. Yeah, it does. The equipment does work. Yeah, even if you're
Yeah.
doing it maybe for the first time.
Yeah. I mean, I did do my whole entire array twice, so I'm seasoned.
Yeah. Well, now, as a do-it-yourselfer, it sounds like you had a friend who is an electrician who helped you with some of the electrical work, or
Oh,
did you do the electrical work too?
I helped them. We pulled lines. I felt like I was on the US rowing team trying to pull lines through all this conduit. Um, but like I said, he works at Ford. He deals with, high voltage, high amperage type of thing. So he had really no idea about this solar. And I gave him the design that they gave me from Green Lancer, and we just kind of figured it out. Like, it took some time, honestly. That was one of the things where we didn't really want to go fast. We were just like, hey, we need to seriously think about how this is going to work. And he consulted with his boss at Ford about the design of the electrical schematic and what it meant. And we did it. It worked. But we had no experience. He had no experience doing it. And it was fun. Honestly, the whole process, it was challenging, but it was a lot of fun.
Besides the barcodes, is there anything you would do differently as if you were talking to somebody who's going to do it themselves, is there anything you would kind of advise them to watch out for?
You know, the one thing that was really trying for me was the slope of my roof, and getting down towards the very end. And I do not do well with heights. And I had these harnesses that I talked to my brother. He, works in industrial contracting, and I got these heavy reels that I, put around um, my chimney, and I had the body harness on, and those things damn near killed me. It was the harnesses and the ropes standing on that surface, that I stepped on those ropes and slid. My foot slid, and I thought I was going off into my pool. So many times that I just took them off, and I was like, that it's less safe using the harnesses than it was to just have 3 points of contact on the roof. So it was scary. I mean, that was probably the thing that really freaked me out. And I was a hair away from going and renting some scaffolding and putting it up all along the edge of wherever I was working.
What is the pitch of your roof?
You know what? I would say I don't know. I didn't measure it, but it felt like a 612. I mean, it seriously felt like a really steep roof. I mean, there was times where I just, at the very bottom, I'm holding on to the rail and just hoping that I attached it right. Because if you saw the pictures, man, it's a full 18-foot drop coming off of my roof to concrete.
I
Yeah,
thought it
go
was a
ahead,
swimming
Carol.
pool.
Yeah.
I've got a little different question. If when I installed solar, they put in as much as DTE would allow.
Yeah.
If you want more, need more in the future, what do you have to go through with DTE to get some? I've heard somebody earlier say they had added.
Perhaps I can help by saying that it has changed slightly, Carol, since yours was installed. I believe John Wakeman put your ground mount in there on
That's correct.
off a Zeeb Road, and I'm well acquainted. I know Jerome and your daughter, and that's DTE now has 110% of what the consumption is. So you could show John your current bill, and then there could be an application and perhaps additional panels right within even the constraints of your current inverter and ground mounted system there, because you've got plenty of space back there.
Okay. Thank you.
And Dave, with DTE, or you're amending the interconnection agreement, right? And does that seem like it goes smoothly, or is that kind
Well,
of
it's
challenging
funny,
it?
my wife and I had no EVs when I put my first solar on, maybe 10 years ago when we had net metering. And I went ahead and added some more when we got our first EV and then our second EV. And, now we've used most all the space we have back south facing. And I've got from 16 panels, I went to 30, and now I've got 47. And DTE actually must have flown over with drones or something, or it must have seen, because they said, "Hey, you've got more than we agreed to in your parallel operating agreement." And I kind of got my back up, and I was angry back at them, and because I wasn't exporting any, and they certainly weren't. It's pennies. It's just and for them to be spending any time at all looking at the small size of somebody's uh, home system. But they did call it out, and I then was looking for others in our systems, people who might have added more panels to see if they'd heard from DTE, but perhaps they just went after me. I don't know, but I was able to simply resubmit a, a new parallel operating agreement and sign it. So it was like redoing the application, so that it actually, whatever they might have done with a drone or a flyover or used, software that we use, is what is it, Newscape, or it's quite current. It's within a week or two, you'll see it's kind of updates itself. And they must use some kind of software like that and seen exactly, counted the panels on my roof. So, but
Big Brother's watching you.
It resolved without any
Yeah.
criminality. I didn't have to. It wasn't nothing like ICE or the border
That's
guards.
good. That's good. Nobody.
Did you
Carol, did
but
you still have your hand up? Did you have another question, Carol? Okay, I guess not.
may I?
Go ahead,
I
Abraham.
just wondered, but you did not change your inverter. So you did not change the size of what the
My house,
utility
the
sees as
questions to
an
me, Abe, I went up from a 7.6 inverter to an 11.4,
uh-huh.
and I did end up putting in 20 kilowatts of battery also. So now it's
Oh, they was that part of the agreement, the battery?
that wasn't, they weren't concerned about that, I don't think. They they
Hmm.
were just uh, but
Well,
I think the batteries were there at the time that they started, that they said you have more panels than we are in our solar current. It was a solar currents agreement, but they'd already stopped paying on the solar currents at the 1-for-1 rate that I initially had way back when. So maybe they,
so the reason why I also am interested in the battery and what they said about the battery, but you didn't change it, is that they try to they went to the Public Service Commission to try to argue that EVs connected to the system should be counted in by them as part of their storage capacity.
no,
Um,
they've changed that now. Were you on the noon call today with going
I was
over the
not.
December 5th? GLREA had a good info session at noon today, and it was recorded, and there's a PowerPoint, so it's worth taking a look at. But no, there's been a settlement, and DTE now will not count batteries into system capacity, and this is where the 110% of your annual use is totally permitted. Uh, so
Mhm.
And then, of course, I think the difference, Carol will be able to to add some more, certainly because of that, but also just to make sure that the authorization is for AC, and she can have more DC, and then be than what her AC might calculate to. So I think she'll be able to do okay at her place.
Well, we're after 8 o'clock, and thanks, Mac, for the presentation. We really appreciate you coming tonight and kind of giving us an update about Michigan Saves and the various programs, and talking also about your own project at your house. And thanks everybody for coming, and hope to see you next week on Thursday evening. You take care. Stay warm.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Or
you.
stay cold.